Dear children, something extraordinary is about to happen. The revelations of the Virgin Mary directly from Medjugorje bring a warning that could change the course of humanity. What you are about to hear in the next few minutes is not just a spiritual message. It is a call to prepare for the most significant events of our time. If you think the world is already chaotic, wait until you hear what's coming. Point 2. This will not be just another year. What you need to know is that the prophecies revealed by Mary anticipate something grand, something that, if ignored, could impact your life in unimaginable ways. 3 mysterious events are about to occur, and your decision to act now can mean the difference between facing these challenges with confidence or being caught by surprise. This is not an exaggeration. The warnings are clear and come directly from the heart of a celestial message that has resonated for centuries. First, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to this channel because here I will be sharing a prophetic message for your heart every day. And don't forget to comment below your prayer request and tell me who you have been praying for in the past few days, your family, friends, work, healing. Make your prayer request below, and along with it, tell me which country you're from so I know where our message is reaching. Amen. The Virgin Mary warns us of the importance of preparing through powerful prayers to achieve protection and salvation in our lives. So, download my digital book, The Powerful Prayer of the Virgin Mary. This material covers a variety of prayers suitable for all occasions in life. Don't waste time, click the link available in the first pinned comment and download it immediately. Units are limited, so it's crucial to act now to ensure access to the powerful prayer of the Virgin Mary before supplies run out. Be sure to get your book in the first pinned comment. It's very important to heed the warnings of our Virgin Mary and prepare for the great tribulation that will come. If you're here, it's because you feel that something bigger is happening in the world around you. Maybe you're searching for answers, trying to understand what's wrong, why things are falling apart so quickly. I'm telling you, the answers are here. In the next few words, you'll discover what you need to do to protect yourself and prepare your family for what is about to happen. This isn't something you want to ignore, but I'm going to be direct with you. If you leave now, if you don't stay until the end, you'll miss the key to understanding the events that will shape the future. The revelations of the Virgin Mary are not mere predictions. They are an urgent warning, and you, more than anyone, need to know exactly what's at stake. Before we continue, I'd like to make a special request to everyone here on our channel. We always like to know where you're watching from. It's amazing to see how many people are following us and how our content is connecting hearts around the world. So, leave us a comment with the name of your city, country, or even the special place where you're watching from. It's inspiring to feel that connection and know that, despite the distance, we are all together on this journey. Lust, the corruption of innocence, the decline of religious vocations. Have you noticed how the world is increasingly lost, moving away from the values that sustain us? This video will show you why this is happening and what Mary reveals as the solution. But that's not all. There's more. Divine wrath is about to manifest in a purification like never before. And what you do now, the decisions you make, can change your destiny and that of those around you. Imagine the impact of not being prepared when these prophetic events begin to unfold. And most importantly, it's not just about surviving, but about understanding the role you have in this crucial moment in history. The Virgin Mary gives us the path, but it's up to us to follow it. You don't want to be caught off guard. If what I've said so far has made you think, wait until you hear about divine protection, the power of prayer, and how all of this will guide us through the darkest times. The prophecies of Medjugorje and the revelations of visionary Manola Strix are more alive than ever and point directly to Rome, the heart of the Catholic Church. You will understand what this means and why 2024 will be the year everything changes. But beware, This isn't just information. If you miss this message, you will miss the opportunity to protect yourself spiritually and guide your family along the path of faith and hope. The message of the Virgin Mary is a call to action, and believe me, when events begin to unfold, it will be too late to prepare. So stay with me and let me guide you through the mysteries that Mary has revealed in Medjugorje and the warnings that could change the course of humanity. I will show you how the 3 prophetic keys can help you face what's coming and how the power of prayer will be your greatest shield. This is the moment for you to decide. Are you going to leave now and risk staying in the dark? Or are you going to prepare for the events that are about to shake the world? Watch until the end and discover how to protect yourself and face the future with confidence. Now that you've understood the urgency of the message, it's time to dive into the most important revelations. The year 2024 stands before us as a milestone. It will not be just another year, and those who are not vigilant may not be prepared for what is going to happen. The revelations from Medjugorje tell us that we are about to enter a period that will redefine the future of humanity. 3 catastrophic events have been announced by the Virgin Mary, and one of them will bring consequences that will change society in a real and indisputable way. Do not underestimate what you are about to learn, because these events are a direct response to the state of moral disorder we are living in. Lust spreads like a plague, corrupting innocence, while the decline of religious vocations weakens humanity's spiritual connection. All of this leads us to a moment of purification, and that's why 2024 will be different. The warnings from the Virgin Mary point to imminent events that no one can ignore. The first of these events will be a kind of sign, a wake-up call that will shake humanity awake. The second, even darker, will test the faith of the strongest. And the third, the most devastating, will be an event that will bring us to the brink of collapse, making it clear that divine purification has arrived. If you've come this far, you've already realized that what we're discussing is much deeper than mere predictions. These are prophecies that will have a direct impact on your life. The Virgin Mary, with her infinite wisdom and love for humanity, is giving us the opportunity to prepare. But are we listening? You might be wondering how to know if all of this is true. Why should you believe that 2024 will be that decisive year? The answer lies in the signs already around us. Natural disasters, spiritual crises, growing moral chaos. All of these are preludes to the events Mary has warned us about. We are on the brink of a transformation, and it's crucial to be prepared. The big question you need to ask yourself now is, are you ready for what's coming? This isn't just about a physical transformation, it's about a spiritual one. When the warnings come to pass, many will be caught by surprise, disoriented, not knowing where to turn. But you, listening to this message now, have an advantage. You know what's coming, and that puts you in a unique position, the opportunity to prepare. At this moment, you have a choice. You can continue living as if nothing is happening, or you can spiritually prepare for the tough times ahead. The year 2024 will be a challenge, a year of trial and revelation, where each of us will be called to demonstrate where our faith stands. Those who heed the warnings of the Virgin Mary will have the chance to find refuge. If you want to protect your soul, your family, and those you love, now is the time to strengthen yourself spiritually. This video will guide you through the secrets that the Virgin Mary has revealed. I will show you how you can use these revelations to be prepared. What's coming won't be easy, but faith and prayer will be your greatest shield. Prepare yourself, because in the next few minutes we will unveil the 3 keys that the Virgin Mary left us to guide us through these dark times. These keys are the key to understanding what will happen in 2024 and how you can face it with confidence and faith. If you follow these guidelines, you will be ready to face what's about to happen. Now that we've understood the importance of 2024 as a decisive year for humanity, it's time to dive into the warnings that the Virgin Mary has left us in her revelations. 3 mysterious events are approaching at an astonishing speed. Each of them will bring immense challenges that will test our faith, our strength, and our ability to endure. The first warning from the Virgin Mary has to do with the insidious spread of lust. This evil creeps in stealthily, corrupting the innocence of millions. Lust, in its purest form, is not just desire or temptation. It is a spiritual poison that weakens the soul, opens the doors to moral destruction, and drives people away from the light. What is even more concerning is that this corruption primarily affects the most vulnerable, the young and those whose minds are still being shaped. Have you noticed how society is deteriorating? Values that were once sacred are now discarded, and the rampant pursuit of pleasure at any cost is distorting our vision of what is right and what is wrong. This is precisely the first great warning. We are living in an intense spiritual battle, and lust is gaining ground. The Virgin Mary warns that if we do not resist this poison, the very foundation of morality will be destroyed beyond repair. The second warning is even more distressing: the decline of religious vocations. Each year, we see fewer people dedicating their lives to the priesthood, fewer men and women willing to serve God with body and soul. And this, according to the prophecies, is one of the clearest signs that humanity's spiritual connection is weakening. Without strong spiritual leaders, how will we resist the adversities to come? Without vocations, who will guide the flock when the storms begin to hit? When society loses its spiritual guardians, it loses its moral compass. The collapse of religious vocations means that we are adrift, with no one to guide us or protect us when we need it most. The Virgin Mary warns us that without these leaders, the battle against evil will be even more difficult. This makes our mission to preserve faith in each of our actions and daily decisions urgent. The third warning, the most terrifying, speaks of the imminence of divine wrath. This is where many make the mistake of looking away, of not wanting to believe that something so great could happen. But the message is clear. The world is on the verge of purification, and this purification will not come quietly or gently. It will come to eradicate evil in all its forms and depths. The divine wrath that is approaching will be like a fire that will consume everything that is not aligned with the divine light. The Virgin Mary draws our attention to these events, which are interconnected. Lust corrupts, spiritual decline weakens us, and divine purification will come to restore what has been destroyed. If we are not prepared, we will be consumed by the shadows we are allowing to spread around us. This is a call to reflection, to action, and above all, to a deep return to faith. These 3 events are the essence of the prophetic warnings from Medjugorje. They are not just vague predictions. They are clear and specific signs that we are on the brink of radical change. Those who heed these signs and prepare spiritually will have the opportunity to face what is coming with more clarity and strength. Those who ignore these warnings risk being swept away by the tide of the difficult times ahead. But here's the point. It's not just about avoiding the worst. It's about turning this moment into an opportunity for renewal. What the Virgin Mary offers us is a path of protection and hope if we are willing to listen to her and follow her advice. In the next few minutes, I will show you how these warnings are connected to 3 keys that the Virgin Mary has revealed. Keys that can unlock a deep understanding of what we need to do to spiritually survive the events to come. Stay with me, because what comes next can change the way you perceive your role in this crucial moment in history. Now that we've talked about the 3 major prophetic events, let's delve deeper into the first, and perhaps the most devastating, the spread of lust. This is the invisible poison that is slowly corrupting the soul of humanity, little by little, in a stealthy and relentless way. The Virgin Mary warned us about this with alarming precision, and you will realize that this evil is already among us, infiltrated into our homes, in society, and tragically into the minds of the youngest. Lust is not just a matter of uncontrolled desires. It is a corrupting force that perverts the essence of innocence. This spiritual poison spreads rapidly, disguised as entertainment, culture, and behaviors that seem harmless at first glance, but actually distort our values and shake the pillars of morality. What was once considered sacred is now trivialized, and this decay is part of the prophetic warning we have been given. When we talk about lust, we're not only referring to what is visibly external, like the obsession with physical pleasures or the devaluation of human relationships. We are dealing with something much deeper that attacks the soul, affects choices, and the essence of who we are. And the most worrying thing is that this evil targets the most vulnerable. Children, young people, those who are still shaping their perception of the world. Have you noticed how in recent years, society seems to have lost the sense of what is right and what is wrong? The line that separated what was morally acceptable from what was not has become blurred. And this is no coincidence. The Virgin Mary warned us that this evil would spread like a shadow, corrupting everything it touches. And the most alarming thing is that this is happening right before our eyes. More and more, we see young people being bombarded with messages that glorify immediate pleasure. Selfishness and innocence is being lost at an alarming rate. Children, who should be the symbol of purity, are being exposed to content and behaviors that destroy their view of the world before they even have the chance to understand who they really are. This is the poison of lust that the Virgin Mary warned us about. And here's the crucial point. If we don't do something now, this cycle will only get worse. The corruption of innocence is already underway, and the consequences will be devastating for the future of humanity. But we don't have to accept this passively. The Virgin Mary, in her infinite wisdom, has given us the tools to resist. The first of these tools is recognition. We need to recognize that this evil is among us, that it is trying to drag us into a spiritual abyss. And more than that, we must understand that there is a way out. Faith and prayer are our most powerful weapons against this darkness. It's not just about protecting ourselves, but also about protecting others and guiding future generations. The solution that the Virgin Mary presents us is simple but powerful: a return to prayer. The power of prayer is often underestimated, but it is what can break the chains of lust and restore the purity of the soul. If you feel that the world is sinking deeper and deeper into this abyss, you should know that there is a light, and that light is within reach of all those who turn to spirituality and sincere prayer. Now I ask you, what are you doing for your family, for your children, for the young people around you? If you're here listening to this message, it's because you've been called to act. Ignoring the problem is the worst decision you could make. This poison of lust is everywhere, and if we don't face it now, the consequences will be irreversible. But we are not alone in this fight. The Virgin Mary has shown us the way, and in the next few minutes, I will explain how the decline of religious vocations is directly related to this moral corruption. Without spiritual leaders to guide us, our society is adrift. But the Virgin Mary offers us a solution, and I will share with you how we can strengthen our faith and resist the spiritual attacks that are corrupting the world. If you've come this far, you know that what's at stake is much greater than it seems. Lust is just the tip of the iceberg, and understanding what's coming will be crucial for your spiritual preparation. After understanding the seriousness of lust and its impact on innocence, we come to the second great prophetic warning: The decline of religious vocations. This is one of the most alarming signs that the Virgin Mary has revealed and points to an uncomfortable truth. We are losing the spiritual guardians who guide us through the darkness. If you've already noticed that it's increasingly rare to find young people dedicating themselves to religious life, then you're already seeing part of the problem that the Virgin Mary has warned us about. What's at stake is much deeper than just the number of priests and nuns. We are witnessing a spiritual crisis that threatens the very foundations of our faith and morality. The Virgin Mary, in her revelations at Medjugorje, spoke clearly. The weakening of religious vocations is a symptom of something much larger. We are living in a time where spirituality is being set aside, where materialism, individualism, and selfishness are taking the place of faith. And this, my friends, is a clear sign that humanity is dangerously drifting away from the divine path. Spiritual leaders like priests, nuns, and monks have always been the pillars that support the church, and by extension, the spirituality of the entire society. They are the ones who guide, console, and keep the flame of faith alive, even in the most difficult moments. But what happens when those pillars begin to crumble? What happens when there is no one left to guide the flock? The answer is being revealed before our eyes. The world becomes more chaotic, lost and vulnerable to malign influences. The Virgin Mary warned us that without the strong presence of religious leaders, humanity would face a period of spiritual confusion. The decline of vocations is not just a problem for the church, it's a problem for all of us. Without spiritual leaders, we are left exposed to the darkness that is trying to drag us further and further away from the light. The decline of vocations is not just a coincidence, but a reflection of the growing loss of faith in younger generations. Young people, who should be the future of spirituality, are increasingly distant from religious practices, seduced by a world that glorifies materialism and ridicules spiritual values. We are witnessing, almost without reacting, the collapse of one of the most important pillars that protects us from evil: religious life. But here's something you need to understand. The Virgin Mary gave us this warning not to make us despair, but to prepare us. The message is clear. We need to reinforce the importance of spirituality in our lives and in the lives of those around us. If we want to see a future where light prevails over darkness, we must act now. The time for spiritual action is now. And perhaps you're wondering, what can I do? The answer is simple but powerful. Start with prayer. The Virgin Mary has repeatedly told us that prayer is the key to restoring what has been lost. Don't underestimate the power of sincere prayer. Prayer can transform hearts, rekindle faith, and even inspire new religious vocations. Through prayer, we can strengthen our current spiritual leaders and at the same time plant the seeds for new vocations to flourish. Additionally, it is essential to promote the importance of religious life in your family, among your friends, and especially among young people. We must create a new generation of spiritual leaders who are prepared to face the challenges of an increasingly disoriented world. Young people need to rediscover the value of faith, priesthood, and service to the community through religion. We are at a crossroads. We can passively watch the decline of religious vocations continue, accepting the destruction of our spiritual foundation, or we can unite in prayer and action, bringing a renewal to our faith and to those called to lead us spiritually. If you think the loss of vocations is just a small detail in the bigger picture, think again. Without spiritual leaders, the world becomes vulnerable, faith weakens, and the doors to evil open even wider. This is the second great warning from the Virgin Mary, and you are here, hearing it, for a reason. This is your chance to be part of the solution. In the next few minutes, we will explore the third and most terrifying prophetic warning: divine wrath and the purification that is coming. This will be the event that seals humanity's fate, and you won't want to miss what's next. So far, you've understood the seriousness of the first two warnings, corruption through lust and the decline of religious vocations. But none of that compares to the gravity of the third and most terrifying warning, divine wrath and the imminent purification. This is the breaking point, the moment when divine patience runs out and humanity will have to face the consequences of its actions. The Virgin Mary has alerted us in her revelations in Medjugorje. Evil will not go unpunished forever. A moment of purification is approaching, and it will not come subtly. Divine wrath will be relentless, a purifying force that will uproot evil and separate those who walk in the light from those who have allowed themselves to be consumed by darkness. If you thought the first events were alarming, know that the purification will be an extreme test for humanity. But what does this purification mean? We're not talking about a symbolic or metaphorical event. Divine wrath comes as a response to the spiritual imbalance of the world. The poison of lust, which corrupts innocence, along with the fall of religious vocations, has generated an unprecedented spiritual crisis. And according to the Virgin Mary, there will come a time when the scales must be balanced, and the evil that has deeply infiltrated our lives will be uprooted by divine force. This third warning is not just a warning of destruction, it is, above all, an opportunity for redemption. Those who are spiritually prepared, who take refuge in faith and prayer, will be able to pass through this moment of purification and emerge stronger on the other side. But the big question is, are you prepared? Do you feel, like so many others, that the world is on the verge of something big? Increasingly frequent natural disasters, wars, crises of faith, a growing sense of disorder, all these are signs of what is to come. The Virgin Mary left no doubt. This period of purification will be like a fire that will consume everything that is not anchored in spirituality. Those who are not spiritually connected will be swept away by the darkness that is approaching. But here's the good news. The Virgin Mary, in her infinite mercy, has not left us without guidance. She has given us the necessary tools to go through this purification. And one of the main messages she has conveyed is that prayer will be our greatest defense. Prayer, the Rosary, the Eucharist, all of these spiritual rituals are not mere traditions. They are spiritual shields against the destruction that is coming. The divine wrath that is approaching will not be an arbitrary punishment. It will be the necessary purification for the world to be renewed, for good to triumph over evil. This is the turning point. And those who are attentive, those who listen to the warnings of the Virgin Mary, will have the opportunity to pass through this storm, protected. But those who ignore it, who continue living without connecting with spirituality, will be swept away by the dark currents that are forming. It's likely that you already feel that something big is about to happen. Maybe it's that feeling of unease, that sense that the world is changing in ways we can't control. And indeed, that change is coming. The purification will be the moment when all the forces of evil that have infiltrated our lives will be exposed and eradicated. But it will be a tough journey, a true test for all of us. Here's the question you need to answer now. Are you ready to face the purification that is coming? Because it won't be something you can avoid. What you can do is spiritually prepare to go through this moment of great trial with strength and faith. The warnings of the Virgin Mary are not an empty threat. They are a merciful warning. And there is still time for you to align yourself with the light, to strengthen your spirituality, and take refuge in prayer. The purification will not be a simple event, but those who are spiritually prepared will be able to face it with the certainty that, in the end, the light will prevail over the darkness. The year 2024 will be a milestone in the history of humanity. Everything that has been revealed so far points to that. If you have followed this video up to this point, you know that these events cannot be ignored. The world is changing, and this change will culminate in a purification that will redefine the future of humanity. And you have the opportunity to prepare for it. In the next few minutes, I will reveal the connection between this purification and the 3 keys that the Virgin Mary has left us. These keys are fundamental to understanding what is to come and how you can spiritually protect yourself. Stay with me until the end, because what you are about to discover may be the difference between facing these times with faith and confidence or being caught off guard. Now that we understand the gravity of the prophetic warnings, lust, the decline of religious vocations, and the imminent divine wrath, we come to the crucial point: how can we protect ourselves? It is at this moment that the Virgin Mary offers us 3 spiritual keys, powerful tools to prepare and resist the evil that is coming. These 3 keys are prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood. Together, they form a solid foundation that will allow us to face the times of purification that lie ahead. The Virgin Mary has revealed that in the times of purification that are coming, the Virgin Mary has revealed that in the times of purification that are coming, prayer will be our most powerful shield. It's not just a spiritual practice for personal comfort, but a real weapon against the forces of evil approaching. Think of prayer as a barrier that protects your soul, your home, and your family. Every Hail Mary and Our Father that you pray are not just words, but acts of faith that resonate in the spiritual world, driving away darkness and protecting you from its influences. It's not enough to recite prayers mechanically. The Virgin Mary calls us to make prayer a daily, conscious habit, a living part of our routine, especially the Rosary, which she repeatedly mentions as one of the strongest defenses against evil. The Rosary connects us directly to the divine mysteries, strengthening our faith and creating a spiritual shield around us. But why do so many ignore prayer? In an era of constant distractions, spirituality is often pushed aside, and this is precisely what evil desires, for us to move away from prayer and become vulnerable. Now is the time to anchor yourself in prayer and spiritually prepare for what's to come. Don't wait for prophetic events to unfold before you start acting. Moreover, prayer doesn't just protect you, but also those around you, even those who are unaware of what's happening. Each prayer is a lamp that lights up in the spiritual world, illuminating the darkness and guiding others. The Eucharist is much more than a Sunday ritual. According to the revelations of the Virgin Mary, it is a source of spiritual strength we need to withstand the tough times ahead. While prayer strengthens our spirit, the Eucharist nourishes us with the real presence of Christ, giving us supernatural strength to face the adversities of the world. The Virgin Mary taught that during the purification, those who take refuge in the Eucharist will find a safe haven. The Eucharist will be the pillar that supports the faith of the faithful who do not succumb to fear and confusion. We cannot treat it as just a habit, but as a central practice in our lives. Participating in the Eucharist regularly is essential for being spiritually prepared. Every time we receive the body of Christ with true devotion, we are strengthened from within and shielded from the temptations and attacks of evil. Moreover, the Eucharist has an expansive effect. When we are spiritually nourished, we radiate that strength to others, protecting our families and communities. We must understand that in the times ahead, there will be direct attacks on the Eucharist. Evil knows how powerful it is and will try to distance us from this sacrament, weakening our faith. That is why, more than ever, we must stay close to the Eucharist, participating in it frequently and with deep devotion. The priesthood is the third spiritual key that the Virgin Mary revealed. Without priests, there would be no Eucharist or anyone to guide the community in prayer. Priests are the pillars of our spiritual life, intermediaries between heaven and earth. But as we've seen, the decline in religious vocations is a sign that evil is attacking our spiritual leaders directly. The Virgin Mary warned us that evil wants to weaken the priesthood, to break down the barrier that protects God's people. Without priests, we wouldn't have the sacraments that strengthen and protect our spirituality. Therefore, strengthening the priesthood is crucial for our spiritual survival. What can we do to support the priesthood? The Virgin Mary asks us to pray for priests and for religious vocations. They are on the front lines of this spiritual battle, and our prayers are a powerful way to protect them. Moreover, we must encourage religious vocations in our families and communities. At this critical moment in history, each new priest and each new vocation is a light that shines in the midst of darkness. It is also our responsibility to defend the priesthood from attacks that attempt to discredit it. We've already seen signs of these attacks: scandals, crises of faith, and the devaluation of the figure of the priest. All of this is part of a greater plan to weaken the Church and consequently our faith. Now that you know the three spiritual keys, prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood, you have the necessary tools to face the future with spiritual confidence. These are the pillars the Virgin Mary has given us to resist the trials ahead. But knowing about these keys is not enough. The important thing is to act. You must incorporate prayer into your daily life. Set a specific time each day to pray, especially the Rosary, to strengthen your spirit. Participate in the Eucharist regularly, understanding that it is a source of spiritual life, and support the priesthood by praying for priests and encouraging vocations. The year 2024 will be a decisive year for humanity. The prophetic events that the Virgin Mary has revealed are already beginning to unfold. We are entering a period of purification, and only those who are spiritually prepared will be able to go through these difficult times with strength and clarity. Lust, the decline of religious vocations, and the imminent divine wrath are not just empty warnings. They are clear signs that we are on the brink of a radical transformation. While many will be consumed by fear and confusion, you have the opportunity to be a light in the midst of darkness. The Virgin Mary has given us the three spiritual keys so that we can face the future with hope, faith, and confidence. Now it's up to you to apply these keys in your life and the lives of those you love. At the end of this journey, it's clear that the choice is in your hands. You can choose to ignore the warnings, or you can spiritually prepare and ensure that, no matter what happens, you will be protected and strengthened by faith. Make prayer, the Eucharist, and support for the priesthood essential parts of your life. If you do this, you will see how these practices will transform your spiritual life and prepare you to face the times ahead. Remember, the year 2024 will be crucial, and those who follow the warnings of the Virgin Mary will be prepared for what's to come. Now that you've understood the importance of these three spiritual keys, it's crucial that you put them into practice to prepare and protect those you love from the events that are about to unfold. The Virgin Mary, in her infinite mercy, has given us these means not only to resist, but to overcome the spiritual trials ahead. The year 2024 will be a year of purification and transformation, and those who take these warnings seriously will face the future with confidence and strength. Prayer is not just an emergency tool, it's a daily discipline that connects us with divine power and strengthens us to resist temptations and difficulties. To have the impact we need, it's essential to make it a central part of our routine. Here are a few steps to start. Set aside dedicated prayer time. Whether at the beginning of the day or before bed, reserve a specific time each day to pray. Recite the Rosary as the Virgin Mary requested, and meditate on the mysteries of faith. The repeated act of praying the Rosary not only strengthens your faith, but also builds a spiritual shield around you and your family. Pray for your family and community. Don't limit your prayers to yourself. Make your prayers an intercession for those around you, especially those who are not aware of the spiritual dangers that lie ahead. Every prayer you offer also protects those you care about, creating a spiritual network of protection. Join prayer groups. If possible, join prayer groups in your community or church. When we pray together, our faith is strengthened and the power of prayer is magnified. The Virgin Mary has often asked us to unite in prayer because collective prayer has a significant impact in the spiritual world. The Eucharist, as the second spiritual key, is the food that strengthens our spirit. You must participate in Mass regularly and, if possible, more frequently than just on Sundays. As the prophetic events begin to unfold, those who are nourished by the Eucharist will be spiritually shielded to resist temptations and the trials to come. Regular Mass attendance. Don't underestimate the importance of Mass. Every time you receive the Eucharist, you are directly connecting with Christ, receiving His strength and protection. If you feel the weight of the world is affecting you, remember that the Eucharist is the spiritual remedy you need. Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament. If you have the opportunity to participate in adoration of the Blessed Sacrament, do so. Spending time in the presence of Christ in the Eucharist will strengthen your soul and fill you with peace, even in the darkest times. Adoration is an opportunity to draw closer to God and ask for His grace in the most difficult moments. Receive communion with reverence and devotion. The Eucharist is not just a symbolic act, it is the real presence of Christ. Be sure to receive it with an open heart and a deep attitude of devotion. By doing so, you allow Christ to work in your life, guiding and protecting you from the influences of evil. Without priests, there would be no Eucharist or anyone to guide the community in its spiritual life. That's why the priesthood is the third spiritual key we must protect. The Virgin Mary has warned that evil will try to weaken our spiritual leaders, and it's our duty to support them with prayers and actions. Pray for priests. Priests are on the front lines of this spiritual battle, facing constant attacks. Your prayers for them are crucial so they can resist and continue to guide the Church. Every day, dedicate time to pray for the priests in your community and for new vocations. Encourage religious vocations. Talk to the young people in your family and community about the importance of religious life. In a world that exalts materialism and selfishness, we must remind them that the priesthood is a high calling, a divine call to serve God and others. The more religious vocations that arise, the stronger the Church will be to face the spiritual challenges ahead. Defend the priesthood from attacks. In a time when evil seeks to discredit the figure of the priest, it is essential that we defend it. Scandals and crises of faith have weakened the image of the priesthood, but we cannot allow this to distance us from supporting those who have dedicated their lives to serving God. Defending and valuing the priesthood is defending the faith itself. The year 2024 will be a turning point for humanity. The events the Virgin Mary has prophesied will mark the beginning of a process of purification that will affect all of humanity. If you've come this far, it's because you feel something is coming and you don't want to be caught off guard. Now you have the three spiritual keys that the Virgin Mary has given us: prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood. But knowing about them isn't enough. You need to act now. This is the moment to prepare your heart, your spirit, and your family for what's to come. Make prayer a daily practice. Strengthen your spiritual life through the recitation of the Rosary and other prayers. Incorporate prayer into your daily routine and dedicate time to pray for your family, the Church, and the world. Participate in the Eucharist and the sacraments. Make Mass and Eucharistic adoration a central part of your life. Receive the Eucharist frequently and with devotion, knowing that it is the food that will give you the strength to resist the difficult times. Support priests and promote vocations. Pray for priests and support those who dedicate themselves to guiding the Church. Encourage religious vocations in your community, knowing that the priesthood is one of the most important defenses against evil. The year 2024 will be a decisive year, and the prophetic events cannot be ignored. But with these 3 spiritual keys, you can face the future with confidence, knowing that you are spiritually prepared for what's to come. The Virgin Mary has given us the tools to protect ourselves, and now it's up to us to use them. The choice is in your hands. You can choose to continue as if nothing is happening, or you can spiritually prepare and ensure that you and your family are protected. Make prayer, the Eucharist, and support for the priesthood an integral part of your life, and you will see how these practices will transform your spiritual life. Don't wait any longer. This is the moment to act, to align yourself with the light, and to be ready to face what's coming. With faith, confidence, and the guidance of the Virgin Mary, you will be able to go through the times of purification, knowing that in the end, light will prevail over darkness. Now that you have understood the importance of acting based on the warnings of the Virgin Mary, it is essential that you make concrete decisions to guide your spiritual life towards preparation. The events approaching in 2024 will be a challenge both physically and spiritually, and the tools the Virgin has provided, prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood, are our greatest defenses. The purpose of these revelations is not to scare us, but to allow us to face what's coming with faith and strength. The keys you've learned must become the foundation of your daily life. This will not only strengthen your relationship with God, but also enable you to be a spiritual guide for others. It's crucial that you put this knowledge into action and share it with your family, friends, and community. Pray for daily spiritual protection. Make prayer a priority in your day. If you haven't yet started praying the Rosary regularly, now is the time to do so. The Virgin Mary has pointed to it as one of our most powerful tools in times of difficulty. Consider also dedicating time for meditation and spiritual reflection, asking for divine clarity and protection. Pray as a family. Make prayer a communal act within your home. Together, you can strengthen your connection with God and protect each other spiritually. Create a prayer routine. Set a daily schedule for prayer, whether at dawn or dusk. This habit will provide you with peace and direction amid any chaos that may arise. Frequent the Eucharist and live the sacraments. The Eucharist is our spiritual nourishment, and in times of tribulation, it will be a source of strength. Attend Mass whenever you can, not just on Sundays, but also during the week if possible. Besides receiving Christ through communion, you can also seek moments of Eucharistic adoration. Regular confession. As you spiritually prepare, it's essential to keep your soul in a state of grace. Regularly attending the sacrament of confession will bring you closer to God and remove any spiritual obstacles that distance you from His protection. Participate in spiritual retreats or events. If possible, participate in spiritual retreats that help deepen your faith and strengthen your bond with God. In these times of purification, being in communion with other believers will bring you comfort and support. Support the priesthood and encourage religious vocations. As part of your preparation, ensure you are praying for priests and for new vocations. They are the ones who provide us with the sacraments and guide us spiritually. Without their presence, the Church would weaken, and our spiritual connection would be even more vulnerable to attacks from evil. Actively support your parish. Don't just pray for priests, but also seek ways to actively support them. Help in your parish, offer assistance in activities that are needed, and make sure that priests have the backing of the community. Foster vocations. Talk to the youth in your community about the call to religious life. It's crucial that more people feel inspired to respond to God's call in these times of need. Your spiritual preparation is not just for you, but so that you can be a beacon of hope and strength for those around you. The Virgin Mary has called us to share this message with others. People who are still unaware of what's coming will need guidance, and you, having prepared yourself, will be in a position of spiritual leadership. Share this message. Talk to your friends, family, and loved ones about the importance of spiritually preparing. Invite them to pray with you, attend Mass, and reflect on the state of the world and their own souls. Be an example of faith. Actions speak louder than words. Live your faith in a way that inspires others to follow you. Show peace, hope, and confidence in God, even in the face of tribulations. Create a prayer network. Organize prayer groups in your community or participate in them. United in prayer, you can ask for the Virgin Mary's intercession to protect and guide others toward the light. The purification that is approaching will be a profound process, and those who are not spiritually prepared will be surprised and faced with great challenges. But you, who have heard these warnings, are in a privileged position. You have the knowledge and the tools needed to face what's coming with strength, faith, and clarity. The year 2024 will not be like any other year. It will mark the beginning of a purification process that will affect all of humanity. But in the midst of these events, those who are spiritually prepared will not only survive, but will help others find refuge in faith. Remember that light will always prevail over darkness, and those who remain faithful and follow the path that the Virgin Mary has laid out will be guided toward peace and salvation. You have reached the end of this message, and now is the time to take action. Don't miss this opportunity. Choose today to follow the path of prayer, the Eucharist, and support for the priesthood. Strengthen your relationship with God, protecting not only your soul, but also those around you. Trust in the promises of the Virgin Mary. Though the times ahead will be difficult, her love and guidance will help us overcome any adversity. Make the right decisions today, and when events begin to unfold, you will be spiritually prepared to face them with confidence and inner peace. You are not alone in this spiritual battle. The Virgin Mary, with her protective mantle, is by your side. Stand firm in your faith, follow the 3 spiritual keys, and remember that in the end, the victory will belong to those who have chosen to walk in the light of God. May peace, prayer, and faith always accompany you as you prepare for what is to come. The year 2024 will mark a new chapter in history, and with the guidance of the Virgin Mary, you will be part of the spiritual renewal the world so desperately needs. As we approach the year 2024, the events prophesied by the Virgin Mary take on an even greater sense of urgency. This will not be just another year in the history of humanity. It will be a time of trial, purification, and revelation. Those who prepare spiritually and mentally will be able to face it with clarity, strength, and hope, while those who ignore the warnings may find themselves caught in chaos without direction or protection. You now find yourself in a crucial position. You know what is coming and have the tools to prepare. This knowledge must not remain theoretical. It must transform your daily actions. The Virgin Mary has given us these revelations not so we live in fear, but so we act with decisiveness and confidence. Choose prayer today. If you haven't already, start praying daily. Make prayer a constant refuge in your life. By praying the Rosary, you will have a direct connection to the divine mysteries and receive protection and divine grace. The Virgin Mary has insisted on the importance of the Rosary as a spiritual shield. The more you pray it, the more protected you will be. Participate in the Eucharist frequently. The Eucharist is the nourishment you need to feed your soul. Don't wait for things to get difficult before seeking refuge in the sacraments. Receive Christ in communion as often as you can, especially during these crucial times. By doing so, you will be receiving the strength you need to withstand the trials that are approaching. Pray for vocations and support the priesthood. As mentioned earlier, without priests, we would not be able to receive the sacraments we need. Make your prayers a constant intercession for vocations and for the strength of priests. They are the guides who will lead us through the dark times. and we, as faithful, must support them through prayer and concrete actions. The year 2024 will be a year of extreme trials, but also of opportunities for spiritual renewal. The Virgin Mary's warnings are clear. The world is steeped in moral, spiritual, and social chaos. Lust and the corruption of innocence have deeply penetrated our societies, and the decline of religious vocations is further evidence that we are moving away from God. All of this is setting the stage for a divine purification that can no longer be delayed. What is at stake is much more than our physical survival. This is a call to a radical spiritual transformation. The purification that is coming is not just to punish evil, but to uproot it and allow good to prevail. Those who are spiritually prepared will not only withstand the trials, but they will also be part of the renewal that will lead the world toward a brighter future. As the Virgin Mary has revealed, the purification will be relentless, but it will also be an opportunity for redemption. Those who do not spiritually align with God's will and who ignore these warnings will be swept away by the forces of darkness. But you, who have heard this message, have the advantage of being forewarned, and more importantly, you have the power to prepare. This is the time to reflect on your spiritual life, to correct what needs correcting, and to strengthen your relationship with God. The divine wrath that is coming will be like a purifying fire, and only those who are firmly anchored in faith will be able to withstand and emerge stronger on the other side. Despite how terrifying the events to come may seem, never forget that light always prevails. The purpose of this purification is for good to triumph over evil, for humanity to return to God's ways, and for those who remain faithful to receive the spiritual reward of their perseverance. The Virgin Mary has promised us that the victory will belong to those who remain in the light. Those who pray, participate in the Eucharist, and support the priesthood will be spiritually prepared for the dark times ahead. No matter how difficult the trials we face, with faith and trust in God, we will overcome any adversity. At this point, the decision is yours. You can choose to ignore the warnings and live as if nothing is happening, or you can take action now. This is your opportunity to protect yourself, your family, and your loved ones, not just in the physical realm, but in the spiritual as well. Choose to strengthen your faith, make prayer an integral part of your life, participate regularly in the Eucharist, and pray for our priests. By doing so, you will be preparing for what is to come, but you will also be contributing to the spiritual renewal of the world. Remember always that the Virgin Mary is with you every step of the way. She has given us these warnings out of love for humanity, and she has offered us these 3 spiritual keys as a way to prepare and protect ourselves. You are not alone in this spiritual battle. She intercedes for us and guides us toward her Son, Jesus, who will be our strength in difficult times. Let her message be a beacon of hope in your life, and have confidence that if you follow these instructions, you will be spiritually ready to face whatever the future holds. You have received the most important revelations and warnings the Virgin Mary has given us. The year 2024 will be a milestone in the history of humanity, a year that will mark the beginning of a purification that will change everything. But you, armed with prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood, have the tools to face any trial. Now choose to act. Make these spiritual keys a part of your daily life, and when the events begin to unfold, you will stand firm in faith, prepared for what's to come. Light will prevail, and with faith, hope, and the intercession of the Virgin Mary, you will be part of God's victory over evil. This is the time to act. Strengthen your faith and prepare for the future with confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, light will triumph over darkness. The Virgin Mary is with you, and with her guidance and divine protection, you and your family will be safe. Now that you've received these deep revelations and understood the magnitude of what is to come in 2024, it's essential to move forward with renewed determination. The Virgin Mary's warnings are not just words, they are an urgent call to prepare spiritually, to be ready to face the challenges that humanity will endure. At the same time, they are a promise of hope, because those who follow her teachings will be protected and guided toward the light and redemption. Your spiritual preparation does not end here. This is just the beginning. Now that you know what is at stake, it is time to put this knowledge into daily action. The Virgin Mary has given us these three clear tools, three spiritual keys that must become the foundation of your life. You must not underestimate the importance of these practices, as they will be your refuge in times of great trial. As we move closer to this time of purification, trust in the Virgin Mary's guidance, stay firm in your faith, and be the light that guides others through the darkness. As we move closer to the year 2024, the importance of spiritual preparation becomes ever more critical. The Virgin Mary's message is a call to arms, not physical weapons, but spiritual tools that will protect you and those you love from the trials ahead. The three keys she has revealed, prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood, are not just suggestions. They are lifelines that will guide us through the coming purification and into a brighter future. Every day that passes brings us closer to the events that have been foretold. These are not distant, abstract predictions. They are warnings of real, imminent challenges. But remember, the Virgin Mary's purpose in revealing these things is not to inspire fear, but to encourage hope, action, and trust in God's divine plan. Those who heed her warnings will find strength, protection, and guidance, while those who turn away risk being caught unprepared. Prayer is the foundation of our relationship with God, and it is the first of the three spiritual keys for a reason. It is through prayer that we open our hearts to divine guidance and protection. Whether you have been praying for years or are just beginning to build a daily habit, know that each prayer strengthens your spirit and prepares you for the challenges ahead. Commit to daily prayer. Set aside dedicated time each day to pray, even if it's just a few minutes in the morning or before bed. The Virgin Mary emphasized the power of the Rosary because it connects us directly to the mysteries of Christ's life, death, and resurrection. By praying the Rosary daily, you build spiritual resilience and align your soul with God's will. Pray as a family. Prayer is even more powerful when shared with others. Gather your family for moments of prayer, especially in the evenings, and teach your children the importance of connecting with God. As the world faces purification, families that pray together will be spiritually fortified to face any trials. Intercede for others. Your prayers can make a difference not only for yourself, but for your loved ones, community, and even those who are far from God. The Virgin Mary asks us to pray for those who may not yet understand the spiritual dangers we face. By praying for them, you help protect their souls and guide them toward the light. The Eucharist is the second key, the spiritual nourishment that sustains our souls. Every time you participate in the Eucharist, you receive Christ's real presence, giving you strength beyond what this world can offer. Attend Mass regularly. Make attending Mass a priority, not just on Sundays, but whenever you can. In times of spiritual battle, the Eucharist provides the strength and protection necessary to endure. The Virgin Mary reminds us that the Eucharist is a powerful shield against the forces of evil. The more often you receive it, the more protected you are. Participate in Eucharistic adoration. Spending time in the presence of Christ during Eucharistic adoration deepens your relationship with Him. It is a time for reflection, to pour out your heart to God and to receive His peace. As the purification approaches, adoration will provide you with the spiritual clarity and strength needed to face any challenge. Frequent confession. The sacrament of confession is essential to keeping your soul in a state of grace. Regular confession cleanses your soul, removes spiritual obstacles, and ensures you are spiritually prepared to receive the Eucharist fully. The Virgin Mary asks us to be vigilant in our spiritual lives, and confession is a key part of this preparation. The third key is the priesthood. Without priests, there would be no Eucharist, no sacraments, and no one to guide the faithful through the coming trials. The Virgin Mary has stressed the importance of supporting priests and encouraging new vocations. Pray for priests. Priests are on the front lines of the spiritual battle. They need our prayers to remain strong and faithful. Make it a daily practice to pray for the priests in your parish and around the world. They are the shepherds of the Church, and their strength will guide us through the difficult times ahead. Encourage vocations. Speak to young people in your community about the beauty and importance of religious life. The Virgin Mary has warned that the decline in religious vocations is a sign of spiritual decay. But through our prayers and actions, we can encourage new generations to embrace the call to serve God as priests, nuns, and monks. Support your local parish. Beyond prayer, offer your time and resources to help your parish. Whether through volunteering or financial support, your contributions help strengthen the Church, which will be a refuge for many during the purification. The priests and religious leaders need the backing of their communities now more than ever. You now have the tools to prepare, but the Virgin Mary's message is not just for you, it is for the entire world. Many people are still unaware of the spiritual dangers we face, and they will need guidance. You, having received this knowledge, are called to be a light in the darkness, helping others find their way to God's protection and grace. Share the message. Talk to your family, friends, and neighbors about the importance of spiritual preparation. Encourage them to pray, attend Mass, and seek the sacraments. Many people are searching for answers in these uncertain times, and you can help guide them toward the truth. Be an example of faith. Actions speak louder than words. Let your life reflect the peace and confidence that comes from trusting in God's plan. As you prepare spiritually, your calm and faithful demeanor will inspire others to seek the same strength and protection. Form prayer groups. Join or start a prayer group in your community. Praying together strengthens not only your personal faith, but the faith of those around you. The Virgin Mary has called us to unite in prayer, and through collective prayer, we can achieve great things in the spiritual battle ahead. The events of 2024 will challenge humanity in ways we cannot yet fully comprehend. But for those who are spiritually prepared, there is no reason to fear. The Virgin Mary's warnings are a gift, a chance to take action before it is too late. By following her guidance, through prayer, the Eucharist, and support for the priesthood, you will be ready to face whatever comes. Remember, the purification is not just about enduring trials, it is about renewal and redemption. Those who prepare spiritually will not only survive, but will emerge stronger and closer to God. The world is on the brink of transformation, and those who choose the path of faith will be the ones who help guide others through the darkness and into the light. You have been given the knowledge and the tools. Now is the time to act. Make prayer the Eucharist and support for the priesthood a central part of your life. Strengthen your spiritual foundation, and in doing so, you will be a source of hope and guidance for others. Throughout history, the Virgin Mary has appeared to guide and protect us in times of great need. Her messages are always filled with hope, even in the face of coming trials. She has promised that those who remain faithful will be protected, and that in the end, light will prevail over darkness. Trust in her intercession, follow her guidance, and take comfort in knowing that she walks with you on this journey. No matter what challenges lie ahead, those who put their faith in God and follow the spiritual keys will find peace, protection, and ultimately salvation. The choice is now yours. Will you heed the warnings and prepare spiritually, or will you risk being unprepared for the trials to come? The Virgin Mary has given us everything we need to face the future with confidence and faith. Begin today. Pray with purpose, attend Mass with devotion, and support the Church and its priests. With these 3 spiritual keys, you will be ready to face 2024 and beyond, knowing that no matter what happens, God's light will always shine through the darkness. This is your moment to take action. Trust in the Virgin Mary, follow her message, and prepare yourself and your loved ones for the spiritual journey ahead. Together, with faith, prayer, and God's grace, we will overcome, and the light will guide us to a brighter future. As we continue on this spiritual journey toward the year 2024, it's essential to remember that the decisions you make today will shape not only your own future, but the future of those around you. The Virgin Mary's warnings are not meant to be taken lightly. They are a divine call to action. This is not the time for passivity or complacency. Now more than ever, you must take steps to align your life with the spiritual keys she has provided: prayer, the Eucharist, and the priesthood. We must face the reality that the coming years will bring significant challenges. The purification foretold by the Virgin Mary will affect the entire world, and no one will be immune to its effects. But this is not a time for fear. It is a time for faith. The Virgin Mary has assured us that those who prepare spiritually will be protected. Lust and moral corruption. One of the key warnings from the Virgin Mary is the spread of lust and the corruption of innocence. Society is already witnessing this decline in moral values. Every day we see how the pursuit of pleasure, materialism, and selfishness corrodes the fabric of humanity. But through prayer and the sacraments, you can guard yourself and your family from this spiritual poison. Remember that purity of heart and mind is essential for staying connected to God. The decline of vocations, the lack of religious vocations, is a reflection of a deeper spiritual crisis. The world is losing its moral compass, and fewer individuals are answering the call to serve God through religious life. But you can be a beacon of hope by encouraging young people to consider a life of service to God. Pray fervently for an increase in vocations, and know that every priest and religious leader plays a vital role in the spiritual battle ahead. Divine purification. The most sobering warning is that of divine purification, a time when the world will be cleansed of evil and spiritual darkness. This will be a difficult process, but it is necessary for humanity's renewal. The Virgin Mary has been clear. This purification will not come softly, but with trials that will test the faith of even the strongest believers. Yet those who remain faithful, who commit to daily prayer, who participate in the Eucharist, and who support the priesthood will endure and emerge stronger. You are not only preparing yourself for what is to come, you are being called to be a spiritual leader for those around you. Many people are unaware of the trials that lie ahead, and they may be caught off guard when these events unfold. You, however, have the advantage of foreknowledge, and with that comes a responsibility to share this message with others. Lead by example. Your actions, more than your words, will show others the path to spiritual protection. Live your faith visibly through daily prayer, participation in the sacraments, and acts of charity and kindness. Let others see the peace and strength that comes from your connection with God.